The 20 years I sailed alone this time, a small longboat. Ran simple goods across the southern shores of Dragon's Reach, and even made my way up to the eastern shores to visit the elves a few times. I remember those days so clearly. I really got to live, and live different cultures, in fact. Glad I got to live before this year struck, Yeah, I remember when it first started, actually. 15 years ago. Some sorry sumbitches washed up on the shores nearby enough to Port Zlosa. Big old middle ship, I hear. Which, what doesn't make much sense, but this is the way the story goes. It washed up upon the shore, holding a whole lot of people who presented themselves as the righteous hand. They brought with them slaves, as well as their own, and so they wasn't met with much liking by the Goliaths, Suelgyrn tribe. Not rightly at all. Turned away, they limped and hobbled their way to someplace northwest. Took with them their slaves and purchased a good few ice skids from the Suelgyrn at a steep price to get where they was going. They brought with them all manner of things, apparently. Well, then wasn't heard of for a good while. Told never to come back and all that by the Suelgyrn. People figured them dead. People mostly forgot about them. Till this year. Yeah, this month of Adavar has been tumultuous. The Great Hunt commenced in all of its glory, and I was waiting up in the port city of Mun for doing a run of meat and the like to Port Zlosa, as a sort of homage to my friend, Featherback. Well, the meat didn't come, but news of travesty it did. The ice skids, every single one of them had been destroyed, and the people, all upon them, were lost. Suddenly, the Suelgyrn tribe lost 4 of its 5 Jarls, including the Jarl King. Goddamn shame it is, but I simply packed myself up and headed home to Hanhara to get ready for the freeze. Kratzen was but 20 days away. Getting there, though, started hearing the whispers of the fjords. After such a travesty, it seems as though the righteous hand has installed themselves within the western villages of the Suelgyrn and have been puppeteering all nasty-like in the shadow. Well, Hanhar was one of them few places that seemed free of any of their ilk, as they kept on top of those coming in and out real good, yes sir. Tensions built, and I myself hunkered down to wait, just wait, really, for whatever was to come, whether it be the righteous hand or Kratzen itself. Well, it didn't. Come Kratzen, well, the undead started marching upon the outskirts of Hanhara, tunneling into the snow to get into the hovels of hibernation that were found under the 60-foot drifts. Dragging people out the window, kicking and screaming, never be seen again. Me personally, I made it out to my boat as soon as possible, wrapped up in what warmth I could gather with me. I got on, I cleared the port so more could come, and I waited, All night I waited for them, the screams echoing to me over the water, and soon enough the bodies come rushing out from the snow, tunneling through the ice. People, live people, who came running out to the boat. Well, they hopped on. It was all I could do. I waited a few hours, even loading up on some supplies while we waited, filling the boat to capacity. I knew it time to leave as the sun went down. Where to go? The dead marched from the north and the west. It was widespread and all-consuming. I made a decision, harkening back all them years to that day when I got to glimpse them pictures on that map. I have no idea its name, how to get there, or even if it exists. but I set course nonetheless. The first day was filled with panic. It was all I could do to tell a story or two to keep all calm. Rationing the food became the first issue, as many who arrived on the boat were aptly carrying weapons. I had to collect them all, mostly daggers and the like, and ration the food myself. When the cold started taking them from me, I thought all was gonna be lost. Though I am old and these bones creak at the lick and lap of the frigid air around, I was born acclimated to it, and I had lived among it for years. The Goliath parents were the first to go, falling to sickness. They made the decision themselves to keep their sickness from infecting any of us, so long as we swore to care for their twin children. I swore on my very shell I would do my best, and they left the same way Featherbeck did. Middle of the night, all quiet like. The first day is always the worst, but it always could get worse. I woke early and did my rounds. 3 bodies. People I barely knew, but it stung all the same. I apologized for failing them, each in turn. A halfling, who had been a fine tailor indeed. He was dressed smart even as he fled for his life. An elderly dwarf, one who seemed at peace with the life he had lived. He wouldn't talk about what that was, but may the divine judge him righteous all the same. Lastly, one bugbear, bless his soul, who had fled from north just before Kratzen. Lived through hell as a slave, escaped, then died to the cold all the same. All of them had burial by the sea, but those who wished to watch, present. Damn shame. It was a damn sad day. I pledged to those left that they would make it. All of them. The elf, the dragonborn, another elf, the tabaxi, and one of them beastie gnolls. Though she's polite enough. All of them would see another chapter in their life, 'cause, hell, I'd even trade my soul to the Lord of the Wilds to see them survive. Yes, sir. Well, next, about 5 days into the travel, I was met with signs of good omen, though I did not share so with my charges at this moment. Saw glaciers poking through the storms all around. What looked like a sort of cove or something. An opening in the glacial wall, as it was. Headed straight towards and traveled another 3 days. I could feel it, the coastal breeze on the wind. But something else was tingling in me. After all them years, I could just smell her. A kraken, luckily enough, very young in its life, burst from the water and began to attempt its cracking of the ship hull down the middle. I passed forth the weapons that had been stashed, and those ready to defend our lives jumped too. Driving it away, I saw the spark. The team, the family, it had begun to form. Some relief as we continued sailing on, and for the first time had open conversation since the trip began. Much trauma to these young folks already, but my promise stood firm. Finally, we saw it. Land protruding up from the sea, like a massive tooth against the consuming storm of early wiring. The excitement in the air, the lust for life, the hope. I won't never forget that. No, sir. And there we were. I had completed my charge. Maybe some other time I'll speak on what happened next, but for now, that's the story of Captain Suelghyrn Marridor.
Thank you all for enjoying my story here today. A recent addition to the archives. I thought this story too exciting to share. Join me, the Weaver on my journey recording the history of the wonderful world of Caernin. Our third story shall be coming soon, though it will be the most exciting yet. Any feedback you wish to leave is greatly appreciated, so that I may come to understand how you, the listener, would like to hear these stories. A new series as well, A Song of Love and Loss, will be targeting dungeon masters and players alike to teach ways to utilize emotional drivers for your narratives, open world themes to be explored, and all else to improve the creation of your own stories. I truly hope you enjoyed this story, the second episode of Writ of the Weaver.